Hi guys, welcome back once again. Our show weekend, mine was amazing. It was amazing, boss. That's what I was saying. Yeah, because it was my 2 year anniversary, guys. It was good. It was really good. That's all I can say. But I'm gonna be giving you guys something really interesting today. So, guys, if you're here for the first time, welcome. How you doing? Thank you for showing up for your girl. And if you've been here before and you're here again, Allah, how you doing? Welcome back, guys. So today we're going to be talking about something really, really good, really biased. I like controversial topics. Yeah, maybe I love something that will keep people talking and wanting more. So today we're going to just dive right into it. I'm going to be talking about couples living together, non-married couples, boyfriend, girlfriend. Yeah, couples living together before marriage. And guys, this topic is not for everyone. If you are on the side of no sex before marriage because of your religious belief, absolutely, you're not supposed to be living with someone. So therefore, except you just want to sit down, watch and relax, that's fine. If not, today's topic is not for you. But if you're open-minded and you're like, okay, let's see what the pros and cons and all that are, yeah, stay tuned and you can sit down, grab your popcorn, and we can get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about me and my experience living with my boyfriend, who is now my husband, and I'm going to apply this based on experience of people's experiences that I know of that are now married and they live together, as boyfriend and girlfriend. So I'm only going to be giving the pros and the cons and how it was beneficial to me. Now you can take this and apply it and not apply it. You don't have to fully agree because we all know that relationship is not a one-way road. So things that have to go the typical way for it to work out for everybody. Do you understand? This is just me trying my own benefits to getting involved in living with my partner, and it worked out fantastic for me. So you could do the same for you. It might just not go well for you, but you can never tell. So let's get right into it. Today I wrote out my points because girls, I cannot be giving you conversations off my head. So I'm just gonna pick the points and narrate my story. But first, I'm going to tell you I met my husband. So I met my husband in the year 2019. We dated for like 2 years. We knew each other for 3 years, and then we married for 2 years. And I met him in 2019, and we were friends, but we started in 2020, February. And by March 2020, we decided to live together. And it wasn't like something we talked about. It was just spontaneous decision, but it was from a place of love and care. I don't owe anybody so much deep explanation, but it was based off the fact that it was COVID and I didn't want to stay alone. I knew I was going to die of hunger. And being a loving girlfriend that I am, like, okay, if I lived with you, we could solve our problems of boredom during this lockdown because we don't know how long it's going to stay. And it was like, yeah, that would be great because I'm going to starve to death either ways. And that was how we decided to live together. And we lived together until we got married. Yeah, so it worked out fantastic for us. Now, my advice for anybody who wants to live with somebody would be certain of who you're getting, who you're making this decision with would be a perfect way to say it, because when I was making my own decision, I was sure that this is the guy I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And to be fair, I had not lived with anybody prior to my husband. So for every other person, I knew maybe not, so I didn't take that risk. But with him, I was certain that this guy is going to be my husband. We had spoken about it while we were dating, and Honestly, people always say you don't know how to turn out. It's true, kind of. To be fair, if we're honest with each other, we always know deep down who we are dating and their plans for us. You can't date somebody and know that, but there's some people that you date, you know this is the person. So for me, I was sure this is the person, because it's not about age or finances, guys, because the person I dated before my partner was like 13 years older than me, was financially capable to marry me and do everything he was. I didn't even know what was keeping him, honestly. To be honest, it was hard to not be married. So it didn't make any sense that he wasn't willing to get married. Do you understand? So I knew deep down, though, with his attitude that he wasn't going to marry me. And by the time we broke up and all that, my husband, on the other hand, I met him when he was a copper. I am 2 years older than him. And it's so funny because with him, I knew this guy was the guy, because he didn't have half within my ex had, but he had everything you wanted from someone that you're going to end up your life with. So it's never really about money. Someone that will marry you, someone that will treat you right, you will know, except you're lying to yourself. So that being said, what I'm trying to portray in this point is, before you make such a huge decision to live with somebody, on both parts, now this is not just for women, men and women, because if you, as a man, if you bring in a girl into your home and get slightly together and she's toxic, you're gonna be miserable. So I would advise both couples, not just the girls. This is for everybody, both genders. There are only two genders, by the way. This is for you guys. Check out the person, have conversations. I always say, before I moved in with my own husband as his girlfriend, when we started talking, before we started dating, like, the first thing that came to our mind was, oh my goodness, you think the same way with me. You are like, it's like we finish each other's minds, complete each other's sentences. Like, I see the world this way, and it's like, yes, exactly. Now finally someone that sees it my way. You don't want to go and live with a guy or a girl who sees things very far from where from where you're seeing them. Then you will have to argue, then compromise. Another thing I would say is, if you're going to live with someone, you should probably very much discuss advantages and disadvantages of living together, and how it's going to benefit the both of you, and if you see yourself living together. And then if something should happen, what's going to happen with you guys? Are you going to be good? Is it going to go south? You want to know, and then you guys can decide from there. You don't just spontaneously do stuff like that. So from my own head, it was a spontaneous decision. Yes, let's move in together. But prior to that spontaneous decision, we had talked about it severally. Do you understand? We already knew that, okay, living together will not be a problem. But then when we had to make an instant decision because of the COVID, and they were like, Abuja was going to close down, no movement, blah 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 blah, today. Next, my boyfriend was like, oh, let's go get Jen. He already got a place. I should come stay with him. And I went around Kubwa, for that now Abuja. I was in Kubwa, my brother's house, and I went on bike looking for where I could get generator, just in case. Fine, he sent me money. I went and I got generator, and I told him I've gotten a gen, and he's like, okay, I'm coming to pick you up, having bags ready, and voila, I moved in 2020, and I can say I've not moved out ever since. So yes, so let's begin with the pros, right? Should we start with the cons? So let's start with the pros, so they can keep people interested, right? So I would say my first point to be companionship. Living with your partner brings a whole lot of companionship, guys. You get to experience life together on a daily basis. You get to experience challenges together. You get to experience your ups and your downs. You get to experience joyful moments. It was fantastic for me because, do you know the best part I actually enjoyed was driving his car to work. People used to say, Madam, how are you today? It was not my car. My husband used to actually ask my boyfriend, enter bike to work, because his hospital was closer to his house. So he would enter bike to work. I would take his car, and I drove his car to work for 2 years. And honestly, people thought it was my car. The mechanics would be like, Madam, no, it was not my car. So I didn't even need to get a car. I was driving his own car. But that's not companionship anymore. But the point is, we get to share a lot of things. I shared his stuff, he shared my stuff, we shared experiences, dates, outings, you know. I remember one time my brother called me and said, this guy has not paid your diary. You shouldn't believe someone that has not paid your diary. Culturally, it's correct, it's right. So as far as I just made the lie that I was staying with my friend, was also staying close to him, because I didn't have strength to argue, because I know the benefits I was getting from living with him. I was completely joyful. I wasn't being treated like someone that, because they've not paid my dowry, therefore he's treating me like trash. No, I was being treated like someone whose dowry had been paid, who loved me, who cherished me. So I didn't question his trust one day or his intentions. It was younger, it was not as financially comfortable, but I was certain that this guy had the best interest for me. So I wasn't even scared in any form. So just to prevent arguments, I told my brother, yeah, I'm still with my friend. And that was it. But then they knew him, and they knew him as my boyfriend, and they loved him, but they didn't just know that I was living with him for at least the first 1 year. I guess they eventually knew, but I don't know if they didn't say it to me. But I feel like at the point they knew, because I know my mom knew. My mom definitely knew, because she would call me and I'll pass the phone. Of course, she can't be calling me so late at night, and then I'm passing the phone every single day, because my mom calls every single day. She's not a child. She didn't just say anything. So companionship is something that you cannot give away. It helped my, they used to say first year of marriage is tough and blah blah blah. Well, let me tell you, one of the best decisions I made was living with my husband, because it made first year of marriage blissful, very blissful. I didn't have to worry. Things that you worry about in your first year of marriage, you already sorted out while living together. We already sorted out all those issues. We talked about it while we were dating, and we were like, do this, do that. So by the time we got married, we just felt like it was really blissful. My first year of marriage was fantastic. That's what I can say. I didn't have to struggle with what people who were not living together had to now find out in their first year of marriage, and start readjusting and be like, why are you trying to clothes here? Why are you doing these things? All those challenges that are living together, that companionship and ups and the downs, we already dealt with it. If you didn't live together, you will not have to struggle without the first 2 years of your marriage. Do you understand? That's a big pro. That's a very big pro for me. Cost of sharing, of course. This was huge for me and my husband, because we had plans, and Abuja is expensive. Like, when it was expensive, we were just, how much was I earning? They were able to cut our living expenses, and it really helped us because we were able to make plans. Like times where I think during the COVID, at the time, my husband wasn't working. He stopped working. He was working, but then he stopped working because of the COVID. And I wasn't even working, but I had savings from my internship. Because we were living together, we were able to okay, this morning, let's do, maybe I do akara and pap. Then in the evening, I make maybe swallow and soup. We're also able to manage costs. When both of us went back to work, it was really easy, because it's like, okay, I have plans for this, and I'm like, okay, so what are our plans for this month, for next month? Then we write it down, then we split out all the bills we need, then we check it and be like, okay, how do we achieve our goals? And we look at our costs and we share it, and we're able to manage and get through the month. We had big dreams. We had dreams of living in the country. We had dreams of writing exams and all those things. We needed money for those things. So living together kind of isn't our burden. And we cook so that we don't have to spend money buying food outside. Do you understand? And all that. So that's something to look into, right? I would say convenience. It's really convenient to make errands. It's convenient to do daily activities. It's convenient to share your day. It's convenient to know. It's just easier. Unlike when you have to now go and call the person, where are you? I'm leaving here. You have to run to the person's house, so this and run back. It's just easier to sort out things among each other. So that's a good one. Deeper connection, of course. Because you live together, you're going to have deep connections, because you're going to share a lot of moments. You're going to share beautiful moments. You're going to share very sad moments. You're going to share challenges. So it's going to bring your connections together, family, a lot of things. It's just what it is. You can't compare that with, of course, people who are not living together have deep connections, but you can't compare that with people who are already living in the same house, because they live every day. They see each other every day. It's a beautiful thing, honestly. It's actually when it works. It's beautiful when it works. When it does not work, it can be sad, yeah. But that's going on that cons. But for the pro, it's nice. I will talk about intimacy. That intimacy is fantastic with someone that you're living with, because you get to share a lot of intimate moments. You can work on your intimacy. This, I would say, this is good for people who are also open-minded when it comes to intimacy. It's just the two of you. You have more intimate times. I think it needs to be experienced to understand. Yeah, when you live separately, you have intimate moments, but you get to plan your intimate moments. So you like, oh, I'm coming over to your house today. Then the guy's like getting ready for the house, knowing that you're coming over, or the girl is getting ready for the house, knowing that she's receiving you over. Then she cooks and all that. But like this other one is intimacy is both spontaneous and planned. There are days that you plan it and like, oh, we're doing something special today. There are days it just happens. It's a whole different level of intimacy, so you get to experience it every single time, every single day, depending on how often you guys are intimate. And if you're both are very intimate, then this is a very, very, very good side for you. You should be living with your partner. It's like a compulsory thing anyway. But yeah, and the best part is shared goals. Now you have to share the same goals. If you have the same goals with someone and you live with them, you're gonna see how that goal will flourish. Honestly, for me and my husband, for every goal we had while dating and we living together, it was easier to just achieve them, because like we came back every day and talked about our goals and worked on it the same way married people tend to thrive working on their goals and all that. Do you understand? You see married people how they grow in their lives, because they are in this space and they have to work towards it, and they talk about it and all that, and you don't have to be explaining over the phone and be only when you now see each other you now talk about it. Then maybe you now ask the person next week and you're like, hey, you said something about like this, you didn't fully understand, but but with living together, you have goals that you want to achieve. It's easier to aim at those goals. It's easier to work towards those goals. It's easier to inspire one another, because you see that person every day to push that person. You see that person every day to talk about that decision that you guys have decided to make, those dreams you decided to build. And I would say this is going for relationship that people said are correct. Now, don't come up with giving me funny comments in the comment section, because even with couples that don't live together, they still end up with shitty people. So if somebody live together and ended up with a shitty guy, the guy is shitty, or ended up with a shitty girl, the guy is shitty, it has nothing to do with sane environment. So this conversation is for in a sane environment, because for people like me, and I know a few people who live together with their partners who are married. I know someone that talked about someone married for 13 years. People have it beautiful, so it does not have to turn out bad. I know our societal standard is pay the girl's dowry, then the girl moves in. I know you're not supposed to be doing the wife duties when you're living with your partner. When you're dating a guy, you shouldn't do a wife duty, blah 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 blah. But when you're living with somebody, nobody's saying you should do a wife's duty. You should just do your duties. You should just have common sense and be there for each other. You should just do the things that boyfriend and girlfriends do. If you have to go beyond for whatever reason, then that's both of your decision. Do you understand? There are things that makes you special, exceptional, that somebody decides to end up with you, living with them or not living with them. If a guy knows who is going to marry, a girl knows who could, there's no amount of thing you want to do to impress somebody. If they're not going to end up with you, they're not going to end up with you. It is just what it is. It's not about if you did the wife duties and quote or didn't do the wife duties. It's just they not wanting to end up with you. But if they love you, they're going to end up with you. For certain, even if you lazy around, I've seen lazy girls marry great guys. When I mean lazy, they can cook. They're not so keen about cleaning. They probably just marry a guy who will pay off everything. Pay a cook, pay a cleaner, pay somebody to do this, pay someone to do that. And they have good marriages with their partners. So it's not about that. So don't put it at the back of your mind like, if I'm going to this guy's house now and I live with him and this and that, he has not paid my dowry, then I'll be there and cooking for him. You don't have to cook, so tell him bring money, let's buy food. But if you want to starve yourself to death, that's both of you. It's not, my point is, it's not in this topic. This has nothing to do with that. If you are really concerned about cultural morals and all that, then this is absolutely not for you. These are for people who are sane, who know that okay, they are living together. Of course, house has to be clean. Of course, they need to eat. Of course, they need to share goals. So people that are intentional about dating one another, getting to know one another, and getting married. This is not for somebody who wants to live with somebody and sleep with them and then break up. Do you get? So let's not get all biased. So we're going to go to the cons. Yes, there are still cons to this things. So I would say for cons, is you lose independence. You don't have your own privacy because you're living with somebody. But it depends on how much of a private person that you have, how much of your time and space that you need. So for me, I'm not a very private person. I really do not care. I really honestly do not care. Because I think for the kind of person I ended up with, if I told him that, okay, I'm bored, or I need my own time, he would give me my own time. So it didn't really matter to me. So, but there's some people who it matters for, so it could be a thing. I think you guys should discuss it. That's my own opinion. If you're not discussing in any type of relationship, then I don't know what you're doing. So another thing will be you rely on the person, your partner, so much. That now I can say affected me, because I think when I met my husband, by the time we started living together, there's one thing I didn't know how to do. I used to know how to wash my clothes very well, but my husband just did not like the idea of piling clothes. So I will pile clothes up maybe I wash Wednesday and Saturdays. That's when I like to wash. But if I go back from work, if he just sees clothes piled up, it goes straight and it washes it. It doesn't even have to wait. So with that, then with marriage, I remember one time at work, someone asked me, your clothes is wet. Can you throw it in the laundry and then dry it up? And honestly, I threw it in the laundry and I did not use the dryer. And then I had to go call her like, please, I need your help with the dryer. And she's like, don't you know how to use a dryer, girl? I'm like, no. So have you been washing your clothes? And I'm like, my husband does the laundry. I honestly don't know how to do laundry. I have eventually learned, but I was so dependent on him that I didn't know how to use the washing machine. I didn't know how to use the dryer. I just knew that it would sort it out. So yeah, you could just depend on someone so much. Like now, I don't know how to pay bills. I don't know how to pay light bills. I don't know how to pay electricity bills. I don't know how to do anything. Like, God forbid something happens to my partner, I literally will not know how to do anything, which is bad. I won't say it's a good thing, because just in case of anything, I should know how to do all these things. But that's why they said it's a con. So you depend on someone so much that, God forbid something happens to the person, you will feel really helpless, and it will be like you're picking yourself from the scratch. Conflict. Well, conflict is something that will happen either you live together or not. But the terrible part about living with somebody when you have conflict is that you've shared so much. By the time you separate, it's huge. You have more impact. So it feels like you lose more, because now you have to talk about, which I said earlier, if you're going to living with somebody, you're going to have to talk about the fact that just in case it does not work out, how do you handle what happens next? Who moves out? Who stays? Are you guys going to still be friends? Are you going to say hi? I know people have that even when they live separately. Some people don't, but are staying friends with their exes or whatever. But I feel like it will be more it's going to be just more painful because you share so much when you live together. Yeah, it's going to be more painful. They will say financial entanglement. Yeah, because you involve so much finances. Well, on my own side, I would say I didn't have any financial entanglement because I don't know exactly what financial entanglement what's obtainable of that, because for me, my money was my money, his money was his money, but we brought out stuff and we're like, okay, this is our goal, and then we invested in it together. So I think where it really matter is if our goals that we invested in did not work out because we're splitting. But if they did work out, if I were going to achieve our goals at the end of the day, even though we didn't end up together, yeah, I wouldn't say any big deal there. But it depends on how much, whose goal you are investing in, and all that. Because sometimes the truth about relationship is that somebody is going to invest more. So it's who invests more that we probably lose the most. And the thing about it that who invests more is always a time thing. You might invest more now, then later I will invest more, then it's going to, it depends on the time frame when you guys now break up. It's not be as if one person lost, the other person at least gained something. So that's something to think about. And I would say lack of personal space again. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a personal space person. If you come into my personal space, honestly, I can accommodate you, and then I forget I was looking for a person. I'm not so private. Like, I can be private with my own stuff, but I'm not so private to the extent that I can't accommodate people in my space. So I'm an extrovert, let's put it that way. So I can't really relate to that. People who are introverts might have more to say on this, so I won't really say much. But I know from common sense is that people will definitely want their space, want to breathe, they don't want anybody around them and all that. So yeah, that's something to think about. If you're living with somebody, you're going to have the person in your face every time. But then again, if you have plans on getting married to somebody and you are living with them, that's the best time to learn how to have people in your space, because by the time you've married them, they're going to be in your space, then there are going to be kids who will be more in your space. So if you are dating somebody and thinking you will have space and you still want your own personal space, I don't think you're dating properly, because if you're dating someone and you want space, it's not a big deal. You can ask for space. But if you want so much space that you don't even want to see them around there, I don't think you're up for a relationship. You shouldn't even be dating. Stay on your own. Then have friends, because friends are things you can do, but you can't do that with relationship. Relationship people are going to be in your spaces. You're just going to learn how to manage, and everybody's going to learn boundaries and know that, okay, this person needs time, they need to breathe, they don't want me around 24/7, even though I'm in their face, but at least I can give them their privacy a little, things like that. Pressure to conform, this is a huge deal. The pressure to conform. Africa, this would definitely fall more on the woman's part, because honestly, let's look at it. If you were to move in with a guy, or the guy moves in with you, either ways, or you both move in together, social media is so funny that people can take your words out of context, so now you have to repeat it like in different ways so that people don't take that out of context. But if you guys move in together, do you know, no matter how they put it, it's still the woman that they will blame. They will go, oh, she's living with a guy and the guy has not paid the dowry. Nobody will go, she's living with a guy, or he's living with a girl and he's not married to her yet. It's always going to be like the woman's thing. And I think, yeah, we have to, it's just, you have to now conform to the society and start thinking, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? Do I want to do that? Sis, it's totally your choice. The truth that I've come to realize is that no matter the choice you pick, no matter what decision you try to make with your life, some people will never be okay with it. Some set of people. It could be family, it could be non-family, it could be friends, it could be work, it could be society. But there will be this group of people that will be so against the decision because they have a better opinion about it. Especially in Africa, the standard to what it should be is so high, we cannot attain it. Especially for women, there is no point indulging anybody. If there's one thing I love about myself is I don't give two fuck about anybody. I don't give any shit. If I'm going to go for a thing and I'm going to make a decision to go for it, even if I will regret it, even if I do regret it, it's none of anybody's business. I've done it, I've learned my lesson, and I've moved on. You cannot play the I told you so thing with you cannot play with me. It does not work. You cannot play the shame card with me. It does not. I'm someone that will shame myself for someone shames me, so it cannot even work. And you cannot play the cultural thing with me. Oh my goodness, you've lost me there. You won't even see me. So it depends on you. You have to have that mindset to work, so you don't gotta be conforming to things that you shouldn't be conforming to. And I would say this last but not the least, but not the last. It definitely is the last. Is the risk of relationship strain. Yeah, it's really sad when people break up. It's sad in that ways, but it's much more painful, like I said, when you break up with someone you're living with. So, what do you think? Do you still want to live with someone? Do you not want to live with someone? For me, I would do it again. Honestly, I would do it again. I would live with my husband again. It was awesome. I enjoyed every moment of it. Like, do you know how nice it is that even now sometimes we just go, oh my goodness, do you remember this time, and we laugh about it. Do you remember when we soaked Gary? Do you remember when we were out of job? Do you remember when we did this one? We have so many memories, great ones, sad ones, like beautiful ones. And do you remember when you passed this exam? Do you remember when you got this job and we went there and blah 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 blah? It takes experience actually. It's beautiful, like only both of you can share that moment. I know that yes, people that date separately have that moment, but like it's just different. That for instance, when you wrote an exam and it was outside, they got a call. It didn't have to call me on the phone and come and be like, baby, see the result of the exam. It just walked right and be like, baby, see the result of the exam. And we just talked and we laughed, and we cried and we hugged, and what? It's beautiful. You can look back and be like, oh my goodness. Do you know the funny part is that? So my husband's sister wanted to come to Abuja. So because she was coming to Abuja as of 2021, she needed to stay with someone. And me and him were living in the same town. So I started looking for a place. Then I moved into a new apartment. Half of the time, he spent the time in my own apartment. So it was like I left this house, then he moved into my own place. So we lived together. Even at the point, a friend of mine wanted to move in with me. She didn't move in with me. I don't know how we did it. I ended up in his own place again all the time. I was always in this place. I'm like, we could not just do without living. Even when I had my own place, he had his own place. We ended up, I was majorly sleeping at his house. If I was sleeping in my own house, it means he was coming to sleep at my own house as well. We're sleeping in my own house. And then by the time we got married in April, my friend had to move out because his own rent had to expire and we already had plans of leaving the country. So nobody was, getting a new place again. So and my own rent was expiring like July, and we knew we were going to leave the country before my rent expired. So he just moved into my own self-com too, and we were there together up until we left the country. And it's so crazy how we were even abandoned. It was just the two of us, and I was thinking, oh, first year of marriage, it's always like, but it was just like every other day. We're just in a different country. It was like every other day in Abuja, but we're not in Abuja this time around. So it was beautiful. It was a nice experience. I enjoyed living with my partner. He ended up proposing. We got married. It's been beautiful ever since then. It was an advantage to my marriage because I didn't have to start knowing him all over. I I've only seen him get better as a person. He didn't, like, I had to tell him because we talk about our pros and cons when every time we do our anniversary, we go, okay, from when we were dating, we go, how did you see the last year? So we went how we saw the last year, and honestly, it's been beautiful. And of course, there are challenges, nobody will dispute that, but I feel that the concept of telling people you can't live with people is a big lie. For every relationship you decide to make, but living or not living with the person, there are disadvantages, there are going to be pros, there are going to be cons. The truth is you have to talk about it deeply, you have to know who you are getting involved with. You have to say, do you have the same mindset? Don't just carry your bag and then up into a guy's house and you just start living with him. Of course, when you know deep down he does not want you in a space, you get. You have to be willing to live with somebody that's like, no, come over, don't leave, please don't go. Why are you going home now? Don't go now. That kind of person that wants to have you around them 247. That's the kind of person you should live with. So before you make such decision, you have to understand all that and be honest with yourself. The truth is, most of the time in relationship, we don't tell ourselves the truth. So we do things with shitty people that don't want to end up with us, then things will go sour, then we blame it on the type of investment we did. But this is not the investment, it's who we invested in. That is the issue. So I know people that have lived together, boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're married now and they have an amazing relationship. I know people that got married earlier and people that got married before me, they are still married, and who have kids and are living their life. I would say if you're in that shoe and you're with the right person, go for it. It's going to save you a lot of stress. It's going to save you, going to help you financially. It has its own pros, it has its own cons. Are they the things you want to do? Is it something you would like to do? I think the old buyer has behind you has not paid dowry, has paid dowry. If it's someone that will eventually, you are certain he will pay the dowry, what difference does it make? But if you feel like it's not your thing, you want to date from a distance, and get to know a person from a distance, and then get married, and fine, that's also fine. That's your decision, it's your choice. But I'm just letting people know that both choices are fine. No one is better than the other. None is like a disadvantage or an advantage. It's just what it is. You're going to date some, you're going to marry one. You're not going to marry all. You probably will not marry the first person you date. Girls that are guys that end up with their first girlfriends, I would say they're lucky. I wouldn't do it, but they're lucky. Did they have to go through that stress? Some of us have to go through a lot of emotional damage before we find people that we end up with. Some of us even appreciate those lessons because it has made us the people that we are today. But it's totally your choice. Don't let the society decide it for you. Don't let people come and be giving you, funny stories. Because even if you don't live with him, or you don't live with her, a shitty person is a shitty person, boy, girl, boy. A toxic person is a toxic person. There's nothing you can do about it. So guys, I would like to hear your opinions in the comment section. Now, I mean opinions, if I'm speaking English right. Constructive opinions. What do you think? Would you live with your partner, or would you not live with your partner? And I've said it before, if you're religious, it's not for you. Because if you don't believe in sex before marriage, you shouldn't be living with somebody, because the fact that you'll be intimate is a standard. So I totally agree with you. If you know you are not the kind of person who's going to, want to get involved in intimacy before marriage. No. Please do not live with somebody. I respect your opinion. It's a huge deal to want to stay like that till you marry. You do not want to compromise it. The moment you start living with somebody, you end up compromising. So there's no point putting yourself in such shoe, just from afar. But outside that, let me hear your opinion, guys. Yeah, so happy 2-year anniversary to me, and thank you, baby, for a wonderful 2 years of marriage, wonderful 4 years of knowing each other. It's been blissful. I love you. I will do it again and again and again. And that being said, see you guys next week.